Thank you for joining me. We're going to continue talking about the Minor Arcanas, numbered cards 1 through 10 today, and continue with the meanings of each of the numbered cards, adding another aspect of the emotions to flavor each of the suits. And we'll continue working with each of the different suits and what their meanings are 1 through 10. And I'd like to ask, if you are enjoying this content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share. I'd sure appreciate that. Thank you. So let's get into it. You can see in this diagram I've created with some flashcards that on the left for each of the suits we can see the element and the emotions and motivation, what the suit represents as far as emotions and feelings and the elements that are represented by each of the suits. And then at the top of the row I have put in what the meaning of each of the cards are from 1 to 10. Just a couple words just to help you remember what the cards mean. And I hope you've been weaving some stories and experimenting with laying out a certain number of cards, maybe in order, and remembering what each card means and flowing kind of a story, and then switch those cards around, and how does that change the story? Now, this isn't like we're making up a reading. It's not like we're making something up. What we're doing is we're trying to expose ourselves to these cards and allow the meaning that we know is assigned to each of the cards, which is very specific. And once you get to know the cards and you're dialoguing with them and you're feeling them through your intuition, the meanings can expand for you and they can even change for you. So I hope this diagram is really helpful. And I thought that what we would do is talk about an added aspect of each of the suits that I've added. So when you look at the left here and you see the wands, we already learned that wands are a fire suit and their season is spring, their direction is south, and now we see that their emotion is motivation. So motivation with the wands. So when you're weaving stories, add that to what you know about the suit of wands. And when we look at the suit of cups, we know that cups are water and that cups represent the season of summer and their direction is west. And we also add here that the aspect associated with cups is emotion, and specifically the love emotion. Okay, and we're going to get into each of these cards in each suit. We look at the suit of swords and we know that this suit is represented by the element of air and that the suit is about thought and the emotion is mental. It's a mental suit. We're dealing with our thoughts and our thinking, our beliefs. We know that pentacles are represented by the earth element, which is physicality, which is the material and our experience in this material realm. As we look at the top of this diagram, we see that we have flashcards with the hints of what each of the numbered cards represent. And so we had learned that our aces represent new beginnings and the impetus of an idea, and the 2's, they represent the choices and even planning. 3's represent direction and the work that needs to happen to make this idea come into fruition. Our 4's are all about creating foundation and structure. 5's are change. 5's represent change. What is, what could have been, what wasn't, what is. And 6's are, they're relating and they're cooperation. And a 6 is also a yes card. Keep that in mind. 6's are yeses. And we look at our 7's. In the 7's, we're evaluating, we're reflecting on that idea and those choices and the structures and the changes that brings and the cooperation and relating. And now we're evaluating and reflecting how far we've come and also where we need to go. Now the 8's. The 8's are movement and manifestation. The 8's are something coming. It's coming. This that we've been working through. And the 9's. 9's are Nines are kind of like you're in a waiting period, and I call this the void. The reason I call this the void is because up until now, from the inspiration of the ace all the way through the 8 to manifest, just before something manifests, there's this void period where our energetically and ethereally, we're in this waiting void where the thoughts and the intention and the prayers and the what we're doing to bring this into our world, it's not here yet, but we know, we can feel it's coming, and we're waiting for this. That's the void. So don't ever give up when you find yourself in the waiting period, when you've done all this work. It's nature, and it's coming. And the 10, this is the outcome. This is our completion. This means we've made it. So from the impetus of the idea to the planning and the foundation, going through the changes, cooperating and evaluating, reflecting, to the movement of it happening, to the void, to the completion. That's what we're looking at from 1 to 10. So we've already worked with our aces, each of the suits. And even in a video, it's up here if you missed it, we actually did an exercise where we worked with each of the aces in weaving a story. And then we switched a few aces around and wove another story. So if you missed that, catch that here and you'll catch up. What I thought I'd do right now is go through each of the suits, each of the numbers, and let's look at our 2's. And our 2's are all about choices and planning. So let's start with our 2 of Wands and look at this individual card. Now with the 2 of Wands, you're looking at it, and we see here, and we're talking about choices and planning. And in this card of Wands, you see an individual, he's holding the world. Because when we have choices, that means there's opportunities. And there are opportunities, and this individual in the 2, he is alone. He's got both of his staffs here. He's got choices. He's holding one staff, and he's holding the world. So his choices at this moment are unlimited. His limitation is only in his mind. This is the fire element, and this is about motivation. What does this individual desire? What does he want? What is his motivation? What's firing him up? And this is him planning and choosing. All right, now let's look at the cups. And we'll look at the cups number 2. And here we see 2 individuals together, and they are each holding a cup, offering it to each other. And one individual is actually offering his hand out to the other. They are sharing. They are cooperating. You see the red lion-faced angel above, and that is said to be the Archangel Uriel, and bringing people together, bringing ideas together. So as we're in the planning stage and making choices, this is representing that sometimes the choice is not just ours. Sometimes it has to do with others, and realizing that we are actually making choices, we're planning, and it may not only affect us. The cups, now remember, that's the element of water and love. Then we move to the swords, the 2 of Swords. Now in this card, you see an individual, and she's blindfolded. She's holding out 2 swords, one in each hand. Her arms are crossed. Her feet are flat on the ground. There's water behind her. There's a crescent moon above her. And look at the tips of the swords. You don't really see them in this card. So the choices and the planning that's going on in this card are confused. This individual doesn't know what to do, which way to turn. And The water being in this air element card shows that there's a lot of emotions going on in the thought process, in the mental process. So this is a card where the choice and the planning seems to be a struggle for this individual. And we come to the Pentacles. And in the Pentacles, we see an individual kind of dancing. He's got two pentacles and he's trying to balance them. And again, there's water in the background and there's ships on the water. They're moving up and down. It's like turbulent water. And this individual is trying to choose for his planning, and it's about balance. You can see that he's trying to choose and plan and create balance in his planning. And this is the earth element. So this has to do with physicality. And the pentacles also represent financial gain or success. They represent our worldly wealth. And, you know, in many cards, in many decks, the pentacles are called coins or discs. The same thing. It means the same thing. So we see this trying to balance the choices and the planning. Now, let's look at our 3's. We start with the 3 of Wands here. And what we see here is an individual. He's holding one of his staffs. He's looking out over the ocean. And we know that 3's are about the work and the direction that the planning brings on, right? So in this particular card, this guy's kind of bandaged up. He's not regal. He's wearing maybe some threaded clothes, maybe some patched clothes, even a band around his head. In many of the tarot people cards, you will see regalia. This is not regalia, yet his staffs are blooming. You notice that all of the wands always have fresh green growth. So here we know that there's direction and there's work, and this individual is contemplating the work that's ahead of him. And let's look at our 3 of Cups. Our 3 of Cups, here we have 3 young maidens. They're celebrating, they're dancing. Again, 3 is about the work and it's about the direction. So this, and because this is the water element, the love emotion suit, there's a lot of happiness shown here. You see pumpkins. This shows fruitfulness. The maidens are happy. They're looking up. They're cheering each other on. They're happy to do the work. They're excited about their direction. And let's look at the 3 of Swords. Now we look at the 3 of Swords and ouch, yeah, this is a broken heart. This is a direction or some work that didn't pan out, that left more pain than progress. And this is the air element, and this has to do with thought and our mental activity. So in this card, you see the heart is actually pierced. This can mean abandonment. This can be abandonment of self, abandonment of others, abandonment of the project. And also, depending on what cards land around these cards, the meanings can change. So if this card were to land right next to the 3 of Cups, then it could represent the healing of the wound and the coming together in love. So here we have the 3 of Swords. And let's move to our 3 of Pentacles. Now, the 3 of Pentacles, we're talking about direction and work. This is mastering a skill. This represents the physicality. This represents wealth, our earth element, and the doing, the physicality of the doing, and creating wealth. Because in this card, there's a master craftsman. He has been commissioned to do some creation, to do some work, and the 2 people next to him are bringing him the plans, and he is going through with the plans. So this is the work and the direction in the earth element, in the physicality. And so as we get into this, and you're looking at weaving your stories and learning what the meanings of each of the suits are and what their aspects and flavors are, I encourage you to continue weaving your stories with the cards. Play with those numbers. We're going to do more, but I know this video is getting a little bit long. What I'm going to do is continue in the next video, and we're going to go through the 4s, the 5s, the 6s. I hope that you're enjoying this, and I hope this is meaningful to you. I'm open to your questions. I thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.